So, Raj, first of all, I would like to thank you for sparing time and joining us for this
Most
conversation.
welcome. Thank you.
I would also like to use this opportunity to congratulate you for winning this Champion of Change Award
Absolutely.
for
Thank
your
you.
work and Swachh
Thank
Bharat
you.
mission.
Thank you.
I was researching the entire background about you and all that. I was very surprised to know that you were also an author of a novel. How,
Yes.
how
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 not
how
to make
not
money.
how not to make money. So
Yeah.
so that title only has
Yeah.
given me a lot of interest to read it, and I'll buy
Thank you.
today only, and I'll read it. And
It's a fiction based on a true story.
oh, great! So definitely, I'm going to buy it and read it ASAP.
Thank you.
You have been into business of construction, mining, energy projects, and I think you have also promoted Best Deal TV. You are also the founder of Vian Industries, which is now into gaming, entertainment, licensing, and animation.
Mhm.
Currently, you are working on an app for social live streaming, where
Yes.
anyone can, with talent, can stream their live talent, right?
Absolutely.
So my question is: so from construction, mining, energy, e-commerce to gaming, animation, licensing.
So all these parameters and businesses don't come under Vian. Honestly speaking, after I sort of moved out of UK and into the Middle East and Dubai, where I was based out of for a long time, we had an investment vehicle. So we were doing a lot of investments in various fields. For me, personally, there was very few startups that I started, and even now as we speak, Beyond Gaming is a startup in itself. And I think any business that I ventured into, believing in, as an investor and as a co-founder, I've sort of put my heart and soul into it. So when it came to real estate, I was never really hands-on. It was an investment. It paid off well. We did some investments in mining exploration. They paid off well. So yes, I had learned a lot on these various business verticals that I'd invested in.
Right.
But my favorite all-time business venture is the one that I'm doing now, to be honest. Gaming. It's something I'm passionate about. I've enjoyed since a young age. And I think there's huge scope in India for real money and non-real money online gaming. And we've seen that now with the current lockdown. The online gaming and e-commerce has really shut up.
Absolutely. Great. So I think that the scope is huge, and I think you are one of the few I think first runner into this category, right? And there's a lot to be done in India on this particular domain.
Absolutely.
Okay. So moving on to my next question, I think, which is, since this book is all about entrepreneurship and their journey and all that things, and every entrepreneur has a background, has a journey which he has gone through, and
Yeah.
there are people who have impacted his life both positively and negatively, right? And he
Yeah.
makes his path from that particular challenges and support he got to that. So if I have to just summarize your journey, like we want to mention some few milestones which have actually changed your life or actually impacted your life, which you share with something like that.
Well, it's interesting. My journey started. I was born and brought up in the UK. My mum and dad have been living there for the last 50 years of their life. My father started his career as a bus conductor. So we've come from very humble backgrounds. And I think my father's been my biggest inspiration. You know, a guy who came to the UK 50 years back with £1 in his pocket, and went on to sort of open his various businesses and be an entrepreneur himself in a smaller way, maybe less risk appetite than I probably had, because eventually he was sort of getting older over there and I was young in my teens. So when you're in your 20s, 30s, you can take a lot more risk than you can when you're in your 40s and 50s. So I think for me, he was a great inspiration just to see the way that he started off and never gave up. So for him, it was all about hard work, dedication, true to your investment, and basically sticking with it. So he was a great motivator for me to do what I want to do. And then there have been very interesting guys that I've met in my life through my various business dealings. I mentioned one gentleman who was the chairman and co-founder of the Rajasthan Royals. He lives in Britain. His name is Manoj Budale. Also, he's chairman of the British Asian Trust, where he works very closely with Prince Charles and family. Wonderful gentleman, wonderful guy, and there's a lot you can learn from him. So he was a very interesting person, and is a dear friend of mine who sort of give me the guidance that I've sort of needed or wanted during the highs and lows. And I think that's it. You just need those few people that will sort of be honest with you and tell you how it is. Sometimes you get into a business venture and you might believe in something with a lot of passion, but I think you also need to be practical. So whilst people say, hey, always sort of focus and do what you believe in, and there shouldn't be any plan B, plan C. I agree with those people. Honestly, for me, focus on plan A. There shouldn't be a plan B because it'll divert you from plan A. But if plan A fails, don't worry because there are 26 letters in the alphabet. So continue. That's my Raj mantra.
Absolutely. In fact, I really wanted to put it here only that I'm in love with your logo. In fact, it's so positive, and I think after so long, I think I've seen something very different, very unique, and very truly represent. I think your personal brand.
Thank you. It's a personal logo. It's not a company logo, but it's something that I use when I personally brand myself. And I think it just sends the right. I think when people see it, it attracts the right people, and it gets rid of all the negative ones.
Absolutely. And I think Raj mantras are something which I look forward to and see that what I can pick it up from them.
Thank you so much. Really appreciate that.
Great. And so moving on to my next question, in fact, is I think I've been meeting a lot of entrepreneurs in the last 2 years now to do research on this book. I think one very common phenomenon which I've seen is that what is your view on that? What is the reason behind it, and why people choose this strategy?
I think it's every individual to himself. Some people say, I'm satisfied. I had a startup, I had a plan, I took it to a level, it's great. Now, I think you should not be selfish to the brand. If you're not going to take it to its ultimate scope, then sitting back on it and holding it for yourself doesn't make sense. It might be a great cash cow. It might have got to a point which is interesting. But if you can get investors on board and take it to the next level, or if you can exit and take a good exit, I always believe when you're getting an exit, grab it. Because today is one of those scenarios where when you need money, it's not available. When you don't need it, it's always available. So I think it's very important to, whenever you get any chance of an exit, it just becomes a stamp of authority that, you've done a great job with your startup, and somebody's willing to endorse that for you. So I think that's important.
Absolutely, bang on. Great. So I think other point which we're touching in this book is about the customer experience. And I think one thing which we have again observed, especially into micro and small enterprises or startups, basically, is that initially when you are building your product or building your model, you tend to ignore customer experience as part of your strategy, right? While you have all the intention, but you tend to ignore that part of things.
I mean, honestly speaking, I think we have the richest man in the world to explain to us how important customer experience is. Today, Jeff Bezos says, I swear by it, So Amazon is all about customer experience. And I think we should learn from that because I've noticed in every venture that I've done, for me, I'll take a loss, but I won't take an unhappy customer. So we always say the customer's right. Sometimes the customer plays foul and we'll take advantage of that scenario. But honestly, it's better to have a happy customer that goes and spreads the word to 500 than a bad customer that goes and spreads it to 5,000, because bad news travels better than good news. So customer experience is key, and it's been sort of embedded into the company ethos for all my investments that I made and with all my management, that customer comes first.
Absolutely. So I think the other challenge with customer experience, which I see, that although there is a lot of intent with the founders or with the core team, but moment you start growing up your organization, right, and you have to delegate to level 2, level 3, level 4, and the frontliner who is actually dealing the product to the last mile, he has a transition in mind. His mindset is more transitional. That if I sell it, I'll get out of this, right?
So honestly, nothing's ever gone unseen or unsaid. The minute the end user, who is the customer, has a bad experience, today we live in this social digital age. It takes 2 seconds for him to put one social media comment that this guy came, delivered, service was bad, it was terrible. And I think all the biggest companies, be it when Jet was around, I had a problem with Jet Airways. I tweeted something. Within minutes, there was a response saying, we're so sorry to hear about it. Let us know what we can do. So I think today we're lucky to have that scenario. So it doesn't matter how big your company grows,
Right.
the customer experience would not really get too tarnished if you deal with it immediately. But it's hard to know what happens at that last mile. There's only so much you can teach down the line, and like you rightly said, you're going to have to go meet your targets as an end user salesperson. You're going to sell, you're going to upsell, you're going to promise the world, and in the end, if you don't deliver, the company stands to lose more than the individual who sold the product. So it's really key, I think, to train that ethos as much as you can. But then when it gets lost, you have to address it, and you have to have a very good digital team. Today, it's all about online, making sure that you can do the damage control and pacify the customer.
Absolutely, absolutely. And
Oof. I think customer retention speaks, big words. Be it Amazon, be it any big organization, be it the Geo now that's just blown up. I just subscribed to the Geo Internet. Somebody came home, the service was great. So it's all about it's what the last individual has to say about the product. So I know that I've had many an experience with dealing with a lot of retail brands, and I, for example, know that what I expect out of my customer experience. So I think it's by default that it is what it is.
Right. Great. Okay. Another question, like since you have been involved into a lot of ventures and you say that you actually invest into a startup ideas only, basically.
Yeah.
And I think one common challenge which I've seen is into a lot of ventures is that
that is a common problem with a lot of entrepreneurs, is that you get so emotionally attached to your concept, to your idea, to your product, that you just don't know when to either let go or when to take the criticism as positive feedback. I don't think it's ever happened to me, touch wood. I'm quite detached. When I love my startup, it's my baby, but the minute I know it's going wrong or the wrong way, and strict action has to be taken, it has to be taken. You do the same with your son and daughter. If you're bringing them up, you're nurturing them, and suddenly something is going wrong, you have to pull them up. And same in business. When things are going wrong and they're not working to plan, you need to bring in the tutors or the right people to say, what have I done wrong? What's going wrong? And then learn and take that feedback. I've always told entrepreneurs when they said to say we're in our startup and we're not getting the funding. How do we do it? What do we do it? I said that's because you're spending too much time focusing on trying to get funding in your business versus actually enjoying and turning your business into a profitable business. All these valuations and this and that, it's all paper until you don't see it. So you've got to grow a business, especially when you're a startup. You can't afford to burn to acquire. I don't believe in that business model. Make money even if it's small, but show it profitable, and we know that when you scale it, it's going to be that much bigger. So if your ideas are all about valuation in today's day and age, I think it's a bad starting point unless you have deep pockets. You need to start with a business which is actually making money and show the proof of concept and show that it's scalable. So yeah, it's important to detach. If you're too attached, and you can really go down with some heavy ships. I mean, I've had 2-3 bad investments in the last 7 years, and if I didn't detach in time, I could have really gone down hard.
Absolutely. Great. Okay, if I just look back to your journey again.
My biggest regret, honestly, and I've never really said it to anyone because it was my baby, it was my startup, was a home shopping channel, best deal that I launched. I really believed in it, and when you looked at the QVC market internationally, home shopping was blowing up. You had great players in the market in India, and TV was big. I didn't believe the e-commerce penetration was half as big as the TV penetration. So I really thought it was going to work. I was very sure in my mind. I went all in, spent a lot of money. We ran the business for about 3 years. And I think that if I could look back now, there's not much I could have changed in the way we ran that business, because it demanded. Home shopping is 10 businesses within one business. Everything from procurement, delivery, customer experience, call centers. It was multiple businesses, broadcast. So I guess it was a learning curve, but honestly, it's one learning curve I would have loved to have cut, because it was an expensive learning curve. So that was one business I regret doing today. But I always say that as an entrepreneur, you have to succeed, you have to fail, and you have to jump into your next venture with the same enthusiasm. as if it's just a brand new deal, and you can't live in past glory and you can't live in past misery.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, Raj, would like to just share more details on your current project you're working on. Like
Sure.
how different this new app is there, because we have already a lot of products in market right now. How
Great.
different is this particular app?
So honestly, I mean, with all due respect, we're taking full advantage of the Chinese app bans that have happened in the market now. So everyone sort of jumped onto the TikTok wannabe bandwagon and created those. We decided to go down the live streaming audience. We believe that tier 2, tier 3 and content today, and with the cheap internet access in India, we wanted to develop an app where you can play games, you can get rewarded, and if you have any talent at all, you can stream that talent. So the app's being created as we speak in-house. We are launching in September 2020. And I think it's going to be something that India can be proud of, that it's an app that will not only be used in India, but all over the world. And broadcasters will perform, will cook, will chat, will do whatever they're good at, stream their talents, and through in-app purchase, through gifts, they can make money at the same time doing that. So you'll see talent coming out of cities that you and I probably never heard of. And I think my audience would then be paying them with various gifts and really, encouraging them. And they get a revenue share. So we give them a 30% revenue share of all the in-app purchase that happens through them going live. We'll have scheduled broadcast lives where we'll have celebrity yoga instructors, trainers, various chefs and cooks coming on board and teaching. So that'll be by invitation as well. And then there's the live gaming section. So all the popular games of India, free to play, but with real money payouts. So we've sort of incorporated 2-3 different models that were there in the market and brought it into one. And we believe it's got what it takes to work. I'm very confident about this project. We've hired some really great people. And I think for me, it's probably cost effective in terms of the other, it's not capex intensive like my other businesses, but potential, it's global. And with the local for vocal and the made in India stamp, it's something that we're really proud of.
Absolutely. I think sounds very interesting, and I'm sure it should rock. And
thank you.
As you said, that India is one of the biggest consumer for anything in the world. So why not this? Why not this?
Yeah.
Great. Okay.
Honestly speaking, this is going to take up a lot of my time now. So for me, beyond gaming, with its focus, is just focused only on gaming. The live streaming app is my baby, and just got to have my full attention to it. I'm wearing the CEO hat, and eventually I have no egos in stepping down when I have the right candidate who can come and take over. I'm happy to be a founder and a shareholder of a business, but currently I'm wearing the hat. I'm using my Nexus, and this is going to be it for a while. I really believe out of all the benches that I've had to date, from Rajasthan Royals right up to this, this is going to pay me back the best, and it'll be something that's actually making a change for a lot of people. So it's got all the right jigsaw pieces to make to make the puzzle very clear for us.
Great. That sounds very, very interesting, and we look forward to that.
The biggest learning actually is you have to be prepared for such things to happen again. And with the way we're moving so fast and new scientific experiments and trials, things like this are going to keep happening. We say it happens once every 100 years, but it's just so scary, and we've never seen the world shut down like this in the past ever. So, I mean, the message is try and look at businesses that are pandemic proof. Try and put money aside for days like this, so that in case you can't get to work, or you've got employees to look after or family to look after, you've kept some money aside that is parked there for 2-3 days. So when people say health is wealth, I was actually saying that you need that little bit of wealth to look after your health parked aside. Yeah, so that's also important. So I think this teaches us that we're lucky to have food on our plate. And we've got to do what we can for the team that works for you. They all look up to us. We can't just disown them. They're all part of my family. And I've made it a point to make sure that if they don't get full salary, even if they're not working at this time from where they are, at least they get something, so that it brings food on the plate and takes care of their basic necessities. But where possible, we've tried to pay everyone 100%. And in some cases, we've had to reduce some. But we've just made sure that everyone is looked after.
Right, very nice. Okay, so now the way I started about this book, we're talking about entrepreneurship. We're talking about we are the largest consumer in the world, right? But still, we are not able to create that kind of enterprises in the world. Like we don't have that kind of unicorns from India, right?
Yeah.
So somewhere I think there is the entrepreneurship still not been taken as a prime career. Like startup is a new culture where again a particular breed is still interested in, right? But still, business as a career option is still not been looked as first choice. People still want to have a secure jobs and by acquiring some kind of skill or degrees or whatever it is. What is your piece of advice to budding entrepreneurs or people who are pursuing their last year of colleges and they're jumping into careers?
I mean, obviously, being an entrepreneur comes with a lot of risk appetite you should have. It's high risk, high reward, unlike a job which you're guaranteed something and you can take something home. So it's all on your situation, on the venture that you're jumping into, how much you believe in it and how much of your time it's going to take. The last thing you want to do is get into a business venture that just takes it out of you, that literally you went from being such a budding, energetic young guy to someone who's just down and out. Because being an entrepreneur at the wrong age, it can literally bring you down to your knees and you get so scared to do something again. And it happens to the best of us. We all sort of jump into something with so much enthusiasm and the business doesn't go to plan. And then it's like, okay, I need a job now. I can't do this. But honestly, some people were just born to lead and some people were born to follow. So it's you either have it in your blood and you're there to be an entrepreneur, or it's like, you know what, I'll work for someone and I'll just take my salary home. If I have anything left spare, I'll invest in my friends who are doing startups, but I won't take that risk.
Great. That's very honest advice to everyone. It's not everyone's cup of tea, but whoever can take it, nothing like it. More reward, more risk. That's how it works. And now I think it's getting very quick and very, I think, crisp right now. So I'm at my last question, which is very near to, which is my favorite question, is that the first time when you hear the name of the book, that Junoon, Jarurat and Jugaad, what came into your mind and what is your definition of Junoon, Jarurat and Jugaad?
You know what? I think it's a fantastic title. You hear the title and you just think startup entrepreneur, because all these three things are needed. You need that Junoon, and if you're going to enter any business and you don't have the Junoon and the passion and the fire from the beginning of the first day of the business to the last day, you don't deserve to be an entrepreneur. And I think your title just sums it up. Junoon, Jarurat and Jugaad. I mean, Jarurat is there. There's always going to be something that you need, some help that you need, networking, the doors have to open. And then Jugaad, trust me, every entrepreneur, to survive, to get through the toughest times, it's all about Jugaad. If you don't have the Jugaad, you don't have the know-how, and you don't know how to cut corners without affecting business, then again, you're not supposed to be an entrepreneur. So I think the title really sums up the beginning, middle, and end, and the requirements of being an entrepreneur.
Thank you. I think that's so encouraging word for me. I think you made my day with that. With that, I think we come to end of this conversation, and we are so thankful to you for giving us this time and short notice. We'll share with you the book when the book is released. We'll definitely share with you.
All the best with that. I'm really looking forward to it, and I think it'll be great for budding entrepreneurs.
Thanks, Raj. Thanks.
Thank you. All the best.
All the best. Thank you. Take care.
Bye. Thank you.